Cool. Welcome back to another edition of the Seed Talk podcast. I'm joined by Chris Lindsey today. We're going to jump into a little NBA, talk the end of the season. So no sports tech today. So if you're here for the sports tech, apologize. But we're going to do a huge deep dive here on the end of the season NBA. Chris, thanks for joining. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me, man. Looking forward to it. It's just gonna be nice, man. It's a lot of stuff going on today. We'll get right into it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, let's get, like you said, right into it. We are recording this as the first games are kind of about to go live here. So, what do you think about that? Do you like how the NBA has done this where everybody plays Friday, everybody plays Sunday, and you've got games here at like noon Eastern, 3 Eastern? What do you think about that?
I mean, I think it's okay. I mean, it gives every fan who has like a fan base something to watch all at once. But if you're like a fan of like players or just the NBA in general, it is a little bit hard to keep up with everybody to see what's going on. Or if you don't have League Pass, which is the reason why you should have League Pass for moments like this. Like get rid of your torrents, get rid of your VPNs, go ahead and pay that, that $20 a month to get that League Pass. So you can watch games all day long, just like this. This is like our Sunday for football. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
this is like the equivalent of that. So I'm kind of like in the middle, being more of a fan of the sport instead of having like a loyalty to actual fan to a team makes it like perfect for me. Where I don't mind. I could flick through the channels and seeing who I want to see all at once. But the marquee games are going to be nationally televised, which are going to be the better matchups that everyone wants to see. But yeah, I guess I have no problem with it. I guess I'm cool with it. It's nice. It gets everybody talking, gets a buzz going.
I like how you said the football aspect to it, and that's what it feels. It feels like today on a Sunday, I can go if I want to sit in front of the couch or hit my like local bar here in Culver, right? I know that there's games on all day, and some of these matter, which is kind of cool. And so, to your point, obviously, yeah, the marquee matchups. You kind of did like a little NBA promo there for League Pass. I feel like we'll try to clip
I'm just
that.
saying. I'm just saying.
But yeah, I think you're totally right. It is. It's a lot to keep up with, which is a little tough. So if you're a fan of just like if you like players, I feel like a lot of especially like a lot of younger kids, they're more tied to the players than they are like the teams. So for them, it's like probably hard to keep up with. But like, yeah, for like your team, right? It's like, all right, I know what my scenario is. I know what we need today. Let's talk about that a little bit. West scenarios. I mean, it's crazy, right? It's crazy what's happened here in the West. Everybody's so bottled up. Lakers winning over the Rockets. The Rockets arrested everybody. So they are in the 3 seed. Nothing can change there. But the Nuggets now. The Nuggets are playing the Rockets. Rockets they've solidified the 2 seed, but we're hearing reports that they are going to play some of their starters today, which has changed. Actually, the lines moved. Everyone's like kind of freaking out here. What do you think happens here in that game? And obviously that kind of cascades into the rest of the West. We'll start with the Nuggets there.
I mean, I just feel like, the rest was good for the Rockets, and they've been out here on the West Coast for close to a week now, playing the Clippers and the Lakers and the Warriors. So they've been out here for a while. They could be experiencing that, we're tired of being on the road. They're a young team. They're getting ready. They just want to stay healthy. But then you get a team like Denver who needs to make a mark. They need to play good. A lot is riding on that. So they're going to go, full-fledged. They're going to do it. So if I had to pick, I'd probably say Denver probably will get the dub because this one means more to them because like we saw seeds 4 through 8, they're juggling. They're going to be going up and down throughout the day until it's solidified. So yeah, I feel like the Nuggets are probably going to get that one.
Have you been surprised that after the Malone firing, Adelman steps in, that they've won the last 2 games here? And obviously there's been a lot of talk about Russell Westbrook. He did close the other night. Like, what do you think about that going into the playoffs and what their chances are with Adelman now as the coach?
You know what? Sometimes having that new voice sometimes helps and it sparks guys because more oftentimes than not, as we've seen, like even like Cleveland, like when they had David Black, most of the players, instead of talking to the head coach, they'll talk to the lead assistant, right? They'll let him know, hey, my minutes aren't good. I want to do more of this. And the assistant usually takes that in. So same with Adelman. He was the guy for them that was probably like, outside of Flip Saunders' son, that was like, hey, I want to do more of this, more of that. And usually when you have a lot of momentum and you have a big change like that, those first couple of games are key, but then they end up playing a lot harder just to kind of prove a point. Obviously, we've never seen anything like this before, getting fired this close to the playoffs, especially a team that wants to win a championship. If I can remember, like in the last pretty much the time since they've been a contender type team, at least since the bubble when they went to the conference finals. This is like their first adversity that they've truly faced.
Yeah.
And it's kind of odd that they just kind of jump ship just because they lost 4 games in a row, like the sky was falling. But it could have been deeper than what was on the surface, and maybe guys weren't responding. And just like Kroenke had mentioned in his presser, like, hey, you know what? We want to get rid of this now. Let's just get to it. Let's handle it now and let's see what happens. We still have a good group. We got a good coaching staff. Guys respond to Adam and well, but that's going to remain to be seen. But some guys will run through a wall for their assistant now that they're the head coach. You see, they got that camaraderie and that closeness with them. So I guess that one's TD for me. Like, you know, that's the team I'm really going to be interested in seeing how they respond moving forward.
Yeah, I agree. It's tough. Jokic is so good, right? And you know what he brings. He just averaged a triple double for the year. Murray's obviously been out so much this year, and I feel like their offense truly hinges on their 2-man game, right? And they didn't go out, and after Bruce Brown left and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, they never, to me, kind of added on to what you thought. I think Strather, I hope I'm saying his name right. I think they thought he would maybe take a jump. Same with Christian Brown in terms of like the ability to shoot the basketball. But that has not happened, right? So they still just have in my opinion, a very basic 2-man offense. Obviously, Michael Porter Jr. at times can kind of get going. But it feels easy to guard them. And so it's like, what do you expect Malone to kind of do? And especially if guys, if people aren't always accepting, to your point, maybe going to the assistant, not accepting of their roles, that just makes it like a tough situation, right? And so, to your point, it's TBD. I agree, because you trust Jokic is so good, right? You feel like he might be able to figure something out, right? He truly is amazing. But in the same sense, you just know that team has a ton of limitations, and if Murray's not anywhere close to 100%, then I think it's really difficult for him.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And then you add in the Westbrook factor into it as well, when he already feels like he's kind of walking on thin ice with the fan base and with certain people in the media or just in general who didn't watch many of their games and how good he had been up until the point of the blunders, the missed layup, and all the other stuff. And typically he's going to be the scapegoat to get blamed because we see a lot of his lowlights more than his impact on what he really does. And that's unfortunate because he's such a good player. But then a lot of that is his own fault. So, seeing him here in LA, like, for every, 2 good plays, he'll give you 4 bad ones, right? Or something that's erratic. And he's been like that his entire career. You can even look back, even how he played at UCLA, right? He was like the hustle guy. He was the one who did the dirty work. And to his credit, he was able to work extremely hard in order to be a high draft pick and have a Hall of Fame career. But the things that he does sometimes can be a little bit in the low IQ base where it's like, okay, why would you do that? To win, you become predictable and easy to guard. Defenses play in drop coverage when he has the ball. You know what I mean? So it's like, well, then he's not going to make the play. He's just going to shoot it. And then it's almost like as his teammate, you don't want to get mad at him because with social media, the camera pans to you or the bench and they see you have an eye roll or with your hands on your head being confused. And now you're the bad guy. Now you got to answer to him in the locker room. So it's like everyone almost has to be in this weird kind of space around him due to how the media is or how he could be flying off the handles or being upset at stuff. But I think that's going to be very like a big thing for them. It's like, do you want to close games with him if it's a game 5 or you're down 3-2? Are you going to have him in a game on a must-win game on the road? Right? Like what does that look like? And you need that in Joker. That, like you said, the 2-man game is already kind of bottled up. Now you need Michael Porter Jr. to step up. And as we know in the playoffs, it's all about the ancillary guys, everybody on the outside, right? So then at the end of the thing, you're going to see who has the best guys who can fill those roles. Is it Strawweather? Is it Brown? Is it MPJ? Aaron Gordon? I know we haven't mentioned him. Or is it Russ? So you're going to have to figure that out. And that's going to be tough to do, especially firing your coach and you're going into this new uncharted territory. And then it's not like Russ is going to stop. He's going to be himself. And it's good that he's himself, but then to a point, it's like you have to understand the whole entire team concept of what's going to help us get to the next level.
There feels like there's not been this evolving of Russell Westbrook. It almost feels Drakean in a way, if I can do that. Where
yeah, there you go.
There feels like there's this, and the thing I love about Russ, you said it perfectly there. he is this hustle guy. Like if you watch the Nuggets all season, I mean, he really gave that second unit so much energy. And obviously with Murray being out, he started a ton of times as well. And he comes in, he plays hard, offensive rebounds, all the things. But then there are these moments, to your point, these low lights, these low IQ moments where you're like, yeah, they're playing, they're not even drop coverage. I mean, truly, most defenders are in the paint waiting on him, right? And because his shot has fallen off to this weird place, and for him, it's like, I'm a Hall of Fame player. I should be able to walk into a 15-footer, right? But he can't. And
no,
so
exactly.
It's like this weird like egg in kind of whatever thing, right? Where he really struggles, and to your point, late at games of what to do, right? And what he used to be able and what his impact used to be. And I think it's just like he's almost fighting himself. And then to your point, as a teammate, like, you know, he's such a good dude. Like you feel bad on one side, like you want him to do well, but also we got to win as a team.
For sure.
So it's such a weird situation there. So I agree. Like that's one where we'll see. You know, obviously we'll see today what they do against the Rockets here. But to your point, going into the playoffs, like, yeah, if it's game 5, you're down, do you have him out there? And that's such a I never thought I would say that, right?
Yeah, no, me neither. I never thought that would be the case. But then again, going back, just looking at how he's always played in that era, you know, in Oklahoma, it was more excused because of how good Kevin Durant was and how it worked for them so well.
Yeah.
And then you see once he was, I think sometimes, you know, him doing the triple double in 2017 was a great accomplishment and the feat. You know, everyone thought that he wasn't going to make the playoffs, and for him to will that team to get there was almost like Kobe like in like 05, 06.
Mm-hmm.
But then like the narratives were, well, they're such a low seed, we can't reward them. So sometimes if you reward poor behavior in some way, they don't think that anything is wrong with it. It almost reminds me of the Warriors run in 2022 when Draymond was still up to his antics, but then he would go pod right after. And then he kept, you know, but then they won. So like that just gave him an uptick and like, see, I still won. And then you start seeing the antics follow even more. Right. So now if it's celebrated on the national level, even though it can be a detriment to your team, it's kind of hard to be like, okay, as a player, well, I'm a Hall of Famer, I got rings. Because, you know, guys are driven with egos, right? Like that's just what got them there. So it's kind of hard to turn that off. So if you're a coach, how do you approach a Russ and be like, hey, we need you to kind of scale it back, or we need you to do this, we need you to do that. And I don't see a scenario where he's like, no, I'm not doing that. It's just like, okay, are you capable? But it's like his approach, you have to almost wrap it with a bow and hand it to him like this, so he doesn't just like wig out on the whole team, which is what it looks like from the outside. I'm sure it's not like that at all, but it just comes off that way. But, you know, it's, I don't know. Yeah, I can't call it. That one's a tough one.
I agree. It does feel like that. It feels like an eggshell kind of situation, right? Where you're always you don't know what you're kind of, and to your point, like we're not in the building, but from the outside looking in, that is how it feels. So yeah, we'll see. For like sure. I said, that game's at 3:30 today. We'll see how the Rockets approach that and what happens here with the Nuggets. The Nuggets, they do lose. They could potentially, if it all kind of goes kind of weird here, right? If the Warriors beat the Clippers, if Memphis and the Timberwolves win and the Nuggets lose, the Nuggets could slide down to 7 there. So we'll see. It is a big game, so we'll see what happens with that. That takes me to, I think, when we were going back and forth, how this kind of started, right, is the idea of a Lakers-Warriors potential matchup. Right now, again, if the Warriors are playing the Clippers at home today, if they win that game, they will be the 6th seed. Honestly, the Clippers have dominated the Warriors. I don't know if that is even possible, right? Depending on if the Clippers decide to rest. But let's just talk the potential matchup, right? What do you think? I guess is the outcome. What do you kind of see potentially with this Lakers Warriors series?
That one's gonna be good. I hope. You know, when we saw them play in 2023. That was good, you know, in that second round series. I was at game 6, I think, when they clinched that one. So that was a big game. That was a lot of fun. But man, I'm trying to think of different scenarios of like who's going to be the second best player in that series, who's the third best player, who's the fourth best player, but then who has the more chemistry. And typically when we see big trades of this magnitude mid-season for both teams, a lot of times they're not that good moving forward. It's so many pieces that have been changed. But if you see record wise, when Luka plays with LeBron and Austin Reeves, they've been phenomenal. Same with Jimmy Butler. We all know playoff Jimmy is a thing, but you don't want to just rely on that thinking, oh, that's going to happen for sure, because you don't know. Inevitably, I do love the defensive makeup that the Warriors will have presenting with the Lakers. They can match them with small ball here and there, and just having that intensity with Jimmy, that's going to be good. And then even Pods for the Warriors has become like some knockdown 3-point shooter out of nowhere that no one expected to see. And he's almost kind of like a heart and soul for them. He's like, not saying he's the same. He's like their version of Peyton Pritchard, right? He just comes in, instant offense. This is our guy. He's going to give us that motivation that we need to push through. And even when the Warriors play here in LA, it's still a lot of Warriors fans. So it's like, and then even in the Bay, it's the same thing with Lakers fans. So it's like almost, this is probably the most even series out of all of them that I could think of. Both teams kind of made the major trades. LeBron and Luka, it's like, who's the third best player out of him? LeBron, Luka, and Steph. It's hard to pick. You know what I mean? So again, like we mentioned, it's the others. It's Austin Reeves it's the Austin Reeves Jimmy Butler matchup. And then it's going to be Rui and Draymond. And then it comes down to execution. Then it comes out to a lot of little small things. But if I had to pick, due to how the Lakers have played, them having home court advantage is going to be the key. If it did go the distance, like 6 or 7, I would pick the Lakers.
Yeah, it's tough. I lean a little bit with the Lakers because of Luka and LeBron. To your point, anytime you have the top two, I love Steph. Steph's my guy. But yeah, you just trust LeBron as long as he's healthy, right? If the groin's not bothering him, you feel like he's going to figure it out over 7 games. And the same with Luka, right? Luka's just unbelievable at understanding what teams are doing. And dude, it's so funny as you kind of look up, it's like, man, he really is. I think I took it for granted before, now living out here and watching him all the time. Like, he is unbelievable at just like, if the defense is going to do this, he's like, all right, well, I'll do this. If you want to double me, then cool, I'll back out and then I'll take the double team and then I'll make the right read. I mean, he is surgical with what he does. And I'm just going to piggyback on what you said. The others become huge because, I think the Warriors and Lakers actually match up really well because they both don't have like a traditional center. They have no size. And so it's small ball all around. And I think, to me, the Lakers have a little bit more switchability from an offensive perspective, right? With the Warriors, like Moody, Kuminga, Yui Santos, like, do you trust them offensively in a game? And I would rather trust Rui, Dorian Finney-Smith. Like, those guys have been in matchups. They've been in big games. And they're obviously going to get open shots too because of Luka. That's the other difference, right? Where a lot of times with Steph, the gravity and everything, guys might be open. And do you trust Kuminga to hit a 3 or Dorian Finney-Smith?
Yeah, that was my next point. Exactly. That ball gets really heavy when it's swung to you and you have to make it, right? So with Steph's gravitational pull, it's going to leave guys open. So the way that LeBron and Luka can make guys be open is just their sheer gravity, but then playmaking ability to manipulate matchups and defenses to get them open. So then when LeBron goes and sits down, that always was the issue with LeBron back in the day, right? When he played against the Warriors, he'd go sit down for that 2-minute stretch in the TV timeout. They're down 2. He sits down for that little bit of a time, and then now they're down 8. And then he has to come back in and fix everything. But now you can kind of stagger that a little bit and let Austin Reeves kind of do it. Because like LeBron mentioned, Austin isn't scared when LeBron and Luka are on the court. They give him the ball. He's like not conceding. He's like, I'm in attack mode, and that's all I'm going to do. So I do kind of trust Austin to hit an open shot more than I would trust, Pods, Moody, Kuminga, and to get the defensive stop, right? Because the Lakers just have to play team defense. And then they're going to force Draymond to have to be more of a scorer than a playmaker. And, you're just going to have to chase Steph around, which isn't easy because then you still have to shoot and have your legs on the other end. Right. But I just feel like I trust Rui and I trust Dodo and I trust Austin to hit those shots. And then you have Vando, who guards Steph the best that he can. And, but then who else is there to guard? I know Jimmy is there, but his threat is going to be a little bit different than when it was Clay running, when it was KD running.
Yep.
It's going to look a lot different. And, when LeBron, I mentioned this before, when LeBron has, a full team and he plays against the Warriors and he doesn't see, the Golden State jersey that says 3-5 and then 11 and 30 and 23, then he's like, oh, okay, that's fair. I could do that. But, that's the only way that you had to beat him, right? Is adding KD in a lot of those ways. So I just think like the Lakers, others, and what they can do and how they've played so far, and they've had more time together outside of Luka being there, and Luka fits exactly what they need because those dudes are just going to be 3-and-D players or just spot up guys. And then you add Gabe Vincent, who's shooting the ball well. And then you have a slasher in Jackson Hayes, who's going to do that. Just pretty much a lob threat. And if they're going to play small, you're probably going to put Draymond on LeBron in some of those post areas where Jackson's just going to roam around free and Luka can find him. So they present more matchup problems for the Warriors than I think the other way around.
I agree. I think that's the issue is the Lakers have a better ability, like I said, the switchability offensively to make it hard for the Warriors, where the Warriors, they're going to be so dependent on any series they are, right, on what Steph can do and Steph's ability to shoot the basketball. But then to your point, with how they run their offense, Jimmy's been great. I also think Jimmy at times has felt like he doesn't want to score, or maybe he doesn't feel like his shot is there. And I don't know, just because he took so much time off this year. And maybe to your point, we'll see something different because of the whole Jimmy, playoff Jimmy thing. But that's concerning to me too. If Steph is bottled, right? Vando does give him a ton of trouble, and they have tons of guys that are just going to chase him. If Jimmy Butler's not hitting shots, or if Pod's isn't hitting shots, now you're just they get stagnant offensively, right? And that
absolutely
for a team that can switch all around like the Lakers can now.
Because they have the length in those wings, right? So Jimmy likes to operate a little bit from 15 feet out, kind of feel a body. But if you have Jackson Hayes, like, leaking over because there's really no center, I don't know if he's going to just dump it off to Draymond right there or Kuminga. They're just going to have to stop guys from slashing. But the Lakers having, like, Rui is what, 6'8", LeBron, 6'8", Luka, 6'8", 6'9", Vando, 6'9", Jackson Hayes is 6'11", 7 feet. And then you have Austin, who's a tall 6'3", 6'4" guy. Yeah. That's a lot of length and athleticism. And what JJ always preaches is crashing the boards from the corners, right? That's what he always talked about. It's like crash boards from the corners as a team. And then that ignites the Lakers' fast breaks. Right. So that's where the Lakers will have to stifle that. Even if they're taking it out of the rim, the Lakers still have half-court offense that they can set up, or even in semi-transition to kind of do those things. Whereas the Warriors, they need to get theirs in their fast break. Like it needs to come off the rim and they have to go.
They gotta go.
And typically it's not in Jimmy's game to do that, but he can still do it if he needs to. So again, it's swing. And now you're going to hit that open shot. I trust him to do it, but you're going to have to see. But defensively between him and Draymond, I do like. And then you also to add on the fact that the fans are expecting playoff Jimmy. They're expecting to see, 2020 Jimmy, 2023 Jimmy. We want to see you take a team all the way like you've done before, right? So that's what they're expecting to help Steph out. So that's when I look at it in that way, through that entire scope, it makes me lean even more to the Lakers.
I had not thought about that. The expectation of what Jimmy has been and what Warriors fans and really NBA fans are kind of expecting. And that's a great point. I mean, I hadn't thought about that in context. So you bring him in to help Steph, because Steph did it in 22, right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Can you now help this dude get back to where he was? It's a great point there. Let me stay in the West with you. What do you think about we're both here in LA. The Clippers, I don't think are talked about nationally enough. I believe they could truly make a run here. And let's say everything is chalk today where Nuggets are 4, Clippers are 5. I love that matchup for them. And then I kind of like them against OKC. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but I mean, the way that Harden's playing, obviously Powell's been amazing, right? Like what he's been able to do now as kind of a true second option, right? And he had the quote, right? Like addition by subtraction with the whole Paul George thing. And he was right. And then Kawhi looks like Kawhi, which is crazy. And then you add Zubac's been a double machine. I compared him the other day to like Kevin Love, like back on the Timberwolves, right? Like what he's been, obviously he's bigger, but what he's been able to do. And then Chris Dunn defensively is a monster.
A menace. He's out there, bro.
And that changes what you can do in these playoff moments, right? If you got a guy that can D you up 94 feet for 25 minutes, like I know his offensive game isn't like it's not all the way there, but if you can do some things on the defensive end and be a plus there, I mean that changes everything here in the playoffs. What do you think the Clippers' chances are going forward here?
Yeah, I actually like their roster and how they're put together a lot. And not even to mention Bogey on offense, actually, a big shot maker and taker. He's not scared of the moment. Again, in scenarios, like we say, it's Kawhi, he's doubled, swing. James has the IQ to get anybody the ball, even in delayed, right? He can get it at the last second, and then here's Bogey wide open in the corner. Or here's Norman Powell, right?
Yeah.
They'll shoot those shots. Like it's not a problem for them. And then seeing healthy Kawhi, I get it. Everyone isn't used to seeing Kawhi healthy. The last time he was healthy in the playoffs, I would say, is like in the bubble. Probably was like his last year that we saw. But even then, he was still phenomenal up until they squandered that series. But I think that even Ben Simmons having there, I know a lot of people don't like him, but even as a defender, just to do some spot minutes, just to run the offense, get it off the glass, let's push it, Ben. Let's make it. And you can see his confidence is back in that way. And one of the underrated heroes for them has been Derrick Jones Jr. Yeah. I think I had mentioned right when he had signed with the Clippers playing with James, I'm like, you're going to see him catch so many lobs because all James has to do is throw it in the vicinity. And he's just leaking in from that corner. And it's almost like when he played with Luka. Yep. It's just like, hey, I'll clean up. I'll get a tip slam. I'll come out of nowhere. I'll defend. I'll do what I need to do. And again, it's the addition by subtraction. It's less mouths to feed. It's more guys that can – it's less people you have to give the ball to and just let Kawhi do it. And James Harden was phenomenal this entire year. Man. So when he made his line saying, I am a system, a lot of people made fun of him for it. But if you see what he's talking about. Like – everything goes through me, essentially, right? I don't have to give the ball to PG. I don't have to give it to Kawhi. I don't have to give it to Russ. I could just set the table. It's almost like how it was when he first got to Brooklyn. Before he got hurt and Kyrie got hurt, they were looking unstoppable.
Yeah, they were.
Right? Because the way that he plays. And as we've seen, outside of like Dwight Howard, pretty much these centers like Clint Capella, also Zubac, James Harden just knows how to unlock those guys. If you're a roller, a rim runner, he's going to get you the ball in places that you didn't even know you can catch the ball at, that he knows. And him being lefty, it's just the trajectory of guarding him is just coming off a different way. And he's still a big-time shot taker and maker, puts pressure on the defense, doesn't miss free throws. So then they're going to be hard to defend. So will Jalen Williams draw that assignment? Is it going to be, we can let Shea just do what he needs to do, right? Like, hey, let him get 65 a game. Yeah. But as long as, Isaiah Joe isn't doing it, are we relying on Chet to make those shots? Not saying that he can't, but we haven't seen it yet. We've seen it with Kawhi and James over time, even Bogey. So that's where your point, like having them, the Clippers potentially playing Oklahoma is going to be, even if they don't win, they could still expand that series and kind of show where Oklahoma could be flawed potentially for the next opponent. Or Oklahoma could be down in that series, right? 2-1, you know what I mean? And it's like, okay, now it's a swing game. Now you're in LA with the wall. You got Ballmer screaming. He's sweating at his shirt. He's yelling and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's going to be a whole different thing. And about that wall, right? Remember, they were 0-4 when they first started there. Then I think they only lost like 2 more games the rest of the year there. That thing works.
It does.
NBA fans, it's like college. Most NBA arenas don't have something that's like that. So then add in that, it's completely different. So I really like that. And when you get from Kawhi, it's hard to count him out when he's healthy. And it's always the caveat when, but he's meant and built for the playoffs. And the Clippers were able to come up with a scenario and a scheme that fed into what helps him. And now you're seeing it paying dividends.
I totally agree in everything you said. Harden is, to me, the key, and I agree. In a series, we've talked about in all these series, right? Who's the second best player? Who's the third best player? And if a potential, let's say the Clippers get past the Nuggets, they play OKC. Yeah, Shea's maybe the best player, but I think the Clippers may have the second, third, fourth best players after that, right? And exactly. To your point, do I trust Jalen Williams to make a big play? Do I trust Chet? Hartenstein, Caruso, can they make big shots when you need them, right? In the regular season, everything's flowing. That stuff's easy. To your point, the ball's light. when
Yeah, right.
the lights are on and it's now it's like a crunch time, 5 minutes left in the game. You got to make this shot. Everything you tense up, everything gets different, right? And so and to your point, everybody on the Clippers has been there. I forget, no one's talked about that. Obviously, like being from Atlanta, being like a Hawks fan, like Bogey is a really, really good basketball player. Obviously, we saw what he did on the international stage against the USA. But now he's in a system, nothing against Trae Young, but now he's in a system where James is different, right? He's going to get you the ball in a different way, a little bit quicker at times, right? And we've seen that now. Bogey's really being able to showcase, like I can be, if I'm open or I can come off a down screen or a pin down, I'm a knockdown shooter. And he's just an extension of what this Clippers offense, you said, they've really built something here with James Harden at the focal point of it. So I mean, for me, I would take them. I'm just going to say that now. I would take the Clippers against OKC in a 7-game series. Again, hinging on the fact if Kawhi is healthy.
For sure.
That kind of leads me into this question here, because I feel like this is, as NBA fans, like, what do we do, right? Do you trust OKC? Do you trust the Cavs? They've had unbelievable seasons here. What are your thoughts on their chances of making the finals?
Oh man, if only it was 2016 again. Like I know we were owed this matchup, but back in 2016, but we never got it. I don't know. Again, the inexperience of some of the others, right? That is a concerning factor. How are you when you meet opposition, right? Like if the shot's not falling, you're not getting the foul call, or the ball doesn't go your way, are you getting back on defense? How are you going to respond to when these things happen? For Cleveland, them adding DeAndre Hunter has been phenomenal for them. It's helped them out a lot. But again, you have to rely on him in order to get things done. Can he do this against Jaylen Brown? Can he do this, even against the Pacers in some instance, right? And then Donovan, what you're going to get for him. He's a huge playoff performer. But my concern is not him. It's everyone else that's around him. Same with Oklahoma. Shea, for lack of a better word, not that he's a ball hog, but he's going to get the ball to score. You know what I mean? And he's going to play defense. But then again, a lot of what he gets is predicated on if he gets the whistle. So now that the whistle may be kind of put away a little bit more, are you going to have your arms out wondering where the foul call is and not get back on defense because you got that the whole 82? So now it's like, you're going to be like, hey, sorry, you better get back on defense. Like, you can't do that. So I feel like they're going to be one of the teams that get to potentially a conference finals, or it could be a second round exit, depending on what happens. I feel like they're a couple plays away, or a bad shooting performance from their best players from being down in a series, because they don't have that next push to help them get there. Kind of like how the veteran teams that we've seen do it over and over again.
Yeah, totally agree. And I saw you put this up on Threads, right? Like, should Donovan Mitchell be getting more consideration for MVP? I love what they have as a team. I agree. I mean, I think their others feel a little bit different in a big time series, right? Strus, DeAndre Hunter now, like they've kind of all been there. The only one that I still kind of don't trust is Okoro on just like, his ability to kind of, from a shot making perspective, it feels like Dean Wade's kind of stepped in and may take some of his minutes anyways. And I love the fact that defensively they feel so strong with what they have, right? Their ability, even with Garland and Mitchell are kind of a small guard tandem, but they play such good team defense, obviously kind of anchored, by their bigs. So I like them. I agree. I like them more. The East is obviously different too, but I like them more than I do OKC, just because I don't think you're going to get off nights from everybody on Cleveland. Even if Donovan Mitchell goes like 6 of 25, you still got Garland. You still get all these guys that can like make shots, right? And then again, their bigs feel different to me, right? Or they're so skilled in what they can do, especially with Mobley. So, yeah, I totally agree with you there. What do you think? Can I stay in the East real quick? I know we're getting close to time here. I say all that, right? Can anybody actually beat the Celtics though?
Let me give you the long answer. No. I don't think so, man. As long as they're healthy. I know Jaylen Brown's been dealing with the bone bruise and having to get some like injections and stuff like that. So that may be something to keep in mind if he can finish games or how effective he'll be. You know, he already is like a heavy-footed kind of player. Like the way he runs already is like very on his toes. But he relies on his athleticism. But I'm looking to see Jason Tatum along with Pritchard and along with White and also Holiday, a healthy Porzingis, like just those guys alone, they can be put on another team and put them over the hump. But they have them all on one team, so they have enough to keep themselves going. And them even signing Torrey Craig kind of helped out a lot as well. But I've had them winning again from the beginning of the season, so hopefully they don't make me look like a liar. But as long as they're healthy, I don't think so. I'm sure a team can make them kind of sweat a little bit by pushing them to like 5 games. Again, they're a bad shooting performance away from in a game 3 that can mess them up in game 5, right? Like, so you're going to have to take care of business. They've been there before since 2016, pretty much. They've been there because Jaylen Brown was on the team. Yeah, Jaylen Brown was on that, or 17. Jaylen Brown was on that team as a rookie. So you're not going to show them anything they haven't seen before unless they run into the Warriors. That's about it, man. But yeah, but no, I don't think so.
I agree. I think coming out of the East, it feels like it's either OKC or the Celtics, and I just don't think. I mean, excuse me, the Cavs or the Celtics. I don't think the Cavs have enough. Like when the Celtics are locked in, my only thing is they get bogged down offensively, right? Because they play 5 out. They just don't run enough sets, just for me and my like 90s sense of basketball. But they're so good, it almost doesn't matter at times because they're just a drive and a kick away from an open 3. You know what I mean? It just and they all can shoot it. Porzingis looks healthy. You know, he had that huge game against the Knicks last week. I agree. I think, short answer, it feels like they're the team to beat coming out of the East. But we'll see. You never know.
You never know, bro.
A little bit, but we'll see. Anything you want to end with here as we close out? Anything you want to plug? Anything like that?
Oh man, just hit me up, follow me, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, Twitter. Chris Lindsey sports, Chris Lindsey hoops, rather. Excuse me, Chris Lindsey hoops. Hit me up on there. I always like engaging, like talking with everybody. I know the playoffs is about to get started, so we're gonna have a good time seeing that. So yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be a fun thing. Hit me up.
Yeah, no, definitely follow him. Amazing takes, Instagram, like I said, Threads, all the things. Chris, thanks so much for joining. I'm glad we're able to kind of do this real quick. We'll get a chance to kind of watch the games, watch the Masters today. But appreciate everybody. Again, always C-Talk Podcast, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all the things. Continue to rate and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next edition of the C-Talk Podcast.
Yes, sir. Peace.